Alright, welcome again to Overdriving. Here's some bass stuff. Today I'm just going to do a quick little intro, whatever thingy, on pentatonics, and more precisely, E minor pentatonic. The great thing about E minor pentatonic is we get to use lots of open E. So a minor pentatonic is one of the minor type scales, obviously. It's consisting of the root, minor third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, minor seventh, so there's our penta, there's our 5 notes, and then the octave to close it on in. If you've listened to bands like Aerosmith, Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, Audioslave, Rage Against the Machine, insert your favorite rock band, any solo by Slash, you have absolutely heard the wonderments of pentatonic scales. That wonderful little riff, not unlike this little riff. Which was actually Aerosmith, Toys in the Attic. The first one was Rage Against the Machine. You tell me which riff came first. Anyways, that's debate for forums. The cool thing with pentatonics is they deal with all the chord tones, except for the fourth. Typically a fourth is an avoid tone. Let's try that again. C. Typically the fourth is an avoid tone, avoid note, because it is kind of unstable in the whole scheme of things. But that's great with tension and release, which is what playing's all about, and the different notes that we use. But primarily in a pentatonic we're dealing with the root, the third, the fifth, and the seventh. They're all in there. And then we add the fourth for some color. But we're dealing with chord tones. So that means at any given time, granted that it's a minor scale, our minor pentatonic, a minor chord, our minor pentatonic scale is going to work with it because we're going to be playing chord tones. So the guitar player can just be chugging over, oh, that's a nice jazzy minor chord, but they can just be chugging over an E minor, and any note of the minor pentatonic that we play is going to work as a bass tone. So if you get that in your ears, so you can hear how, as hacky as that was, everything was working over the tonality of that E minor chord happening. Now with pentatonics, don't just restrict yourself to one shape. It's the one scale that really benefits from, not unlike all the other scales, knowing it in other positions, rather than just, first position like this. Know it all over the neck, because it's such a great, useful rock kind of a scale. Another thing to kind of start working on and thinking about, along with scales and stuff like that, your left hand, is start thinking about some right hand techniques. To kind of tie into the bluesiness of a minor pentatonic, I'm going to start using some thumb muting, some palm muting, and plucking with my other fingers, not quite so conventionally, just to get more of a, I don't know, a down-home, nastier feel. not exactly usable in all situations, but it's cool. It's nice and it's deep and it's low and it's percussive, and it really, to my ears, suits that nice slinkiness of a nice mid-tempo, slow-tempo minor pentatonic scale. So what I'm doing is I'm using the side of my thumb to pluck. I'm taking my palm, my hand, putting it just ahead of the saddles and resting it there. So if I pluck my open strings, they are kind of ringing a little bit, but they're pretty muted. And then from there, it just gives this really cool kind of old school, greasy kind of tone. And the whole perspective of tone coming from our hands is is a major cliche that, this is where your tone comes from. It doesn't matter what kind of instrument or what kind of amps or effects you're using. Absolutely, that is so true. Now mind you, some gear has a lot easier time getting crappy tones than other gear, but pretty much it shouldn't matter what you're playing as far as your instrument or what you're playing through. You should be able to get a good tone out of it. And that comes down to your hands. So lots of experimentation, especially with stuff like this. It's so touch sensitive, I can really start digging in and really choke the notes off like that, or I can just sit back. Let them ring a bit more, so it's a bit more like an upright or whatnot. But it's all just dynamics of your hands and just tension and pressure and everything like that. So really start to explore that in your technique. Yeah, let your freak flag fly. So anywho, there's a little bit of E minor pentatonic isms and some funkiness with the old phalanges. Till next time, rock on.